True indeed. That's a blessing, without a doubt. Let the brother. So even before we get really into it, anybody any questions from it's been on your mind from anything we've discussed before? Any thoughts?
At church Sunday, they talked about how we can better the community. So some of the things that we talked about here, I kind of passed on to my pastor, and he was blown away about it.
Yeah.
And kind of put a self-check for everybody.
True indeed. Oh yeah. Yeah, we-ology, community. That's what we're born into. You know, that's being human. That whole social connect. And Reese, I know you got a question.
I'm waiting on this book. I ain't finished chapter 6.
Right. It's in the bag. Got you at the end.
Oh, okay. That's really what I've been anticipating since before I even got
Sure
it.
did. Well, we covered. You'll just be able to have it in print.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Right. And at the same time.
I can have a copy, you know.
And at the same time, coming this Monday, it should be launching the whole digital platform that entails all of this. Yeah. It's a free portion, and then there's a member portion that gives you more access, more assessments.
How much is it?
So you're already to that. Let me ask this question. No. Let me ask this question. How much is your higher functioning as an investment to you? How much is that worth?
I mean, it's high priority now.
Right.
For sure.
So how much? What would you consider that to be?
Shit, $5.99.
Now, you've been exposed to what's been shared already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just from those scenarios.
I would pay the price.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I would pay the price.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's not much though. I just wanted to see where, all right? Because there's different pieces. Because at the same time, there's elements inside of it for you to personalize everything that we've been going through, right? And so there's a challenge, all of these things that are in there for you to make it yours. So even with that declaring, having the audacity to declare your truth, your authenticity, and your originality, there's a piece that's set up for you to go all the way through that so that you can label, identify, and then start putting yourself on a process of living it, right? And that's when we're dealing with the, declaring it and then also conveying it. How do you exist as that, right? How do you convert to the person that you want to be, right? There's a whole piece on that. How you personalize, how you go from setting that foundation to putting it into practice. And then when we talked about disseminating or being able to reverse that force of energy that originally you were using, that created the design that you want to change, then there's a whole element on that, on how you start to self-govern. Right, so you start with potential. Remember that very first group we had, we started talking about the root of consciousness, right? That basic element, which was
Wait, say it again.
the basic element to your consciousness from a human functioning performance perspective.
Awareness.
No, you said awareness.
That's a portion,
Okay.
but the awareness, in order to have that awareness, you need this, right? What is that?
A brain.
Okay,
Your
well,
conscience?
for this element, you don't actually need the brain because it exists without the brain.
Energy.
But the brain is built off of these, and I'm not going to say the following words, scenarios. What is allowing you even right now to think? What are you thinking about? What are you using in your mind?
Energy.
You're using energy, but what are you actually using even to say the word energy?
Thought.
What allows you to track your thoughts?
Your decisions.
What allows you to express your thoughts?
Your decision to express your thoughts.
What allows you to get to a decision?
Okay, come on, Doc.
Huh?
He's making us think. It's
I
good.
know,
We
I
we
know,
almost
that's what-
there.
I forgot.
We almost
Because
there.
everything is going to extend from it. Right? You're using words right now, right? What is that?
Sound.
Sound.
Come on, man. Yeah, he taught us this.
Those waves,
He taught us this.
exactly.
Yeah, come on.
At the very, as you're sitting here pondering
Vibration.
and thinking in your consciousness where your awareness is, in order for me to get some awareness, I have to utilize words. Have to utilize the sound, right? And so, as we mentioned before, from without even having to get into the science of it, but just so we recognize what they're referring to a Big Bang, or when things took place, there were sound waves, right? And so there's waves of light, waves of heat, you understand? Radio waves, there's a lot of different types of waves. But in order to manage yourself, your functioning, how you use your awareness, how you engage your consciousness, right? Because we're all plugged inside of what? What are we all plugged inside of?
The Matrix.
Okay, you watch a lot of TV. Right, what do you mean by Matrix?
So what I mean by you said, what are we plugged into the Matrix?
Yeah, what are we plugged? Everything. What is plugged into?
We're spiritual beings, but we're living in the Matrix, so we have to follow the rules of the Matrix. Like, I might be spiritual and be like, oh, I want to manifest this and that, but I'm still living here with everybody else. So I gotta follow the rules.
So you don't like the rest of us. You just here with the rest of us.
Damn.
We're all the same, we just have different.
Right, but now when you look at that matrix though, all of that you're referring to is still tapped into something else. What is that tapped into?
Source.
The source.
Okay, like you used the example of the lamp.
Right.
Plug and
Hey, don't take my credit.
well, I'm just saying. Well, you didn't say that.
Yeah, I did.
Right. So to that same point, we're all plugged into the source, right? That's where it all starts. And so your consciousness is what allows you your portion of the source of existence, right? Because unless you think that you're a separate entity from the source of existence, do you consider yourself a separate entity?
No.
You, right? Because we discussed that. In order for there to be separate, now it becomes no longer unity, it becomes one. And one is what?
Individualism.
A portion of two. And two is a what? A portion of three. So now you go from the one reality, the source of it all, to a bunch of divisions, and then we're thinking that we actually have the power versus us being plugged into the power. That's your legacy. Remember before we discussed that your history is what takes place inside of your DNA, inside of the way that you use yourself. But your legacy is dealing with a present. The only thing that stays in now is the source of it all. And that's what you plugged into. So your potential is the fact that you have access to the source of it all. That's your potential. And then as you guys started to discuss, talking about kinetic, that's when you start to put movement. And that's what made me go back into the sound. That was when movement was clicked on. Vibration clicked on. Everything in existence vibrates. It's that speed that it vibrates, as you mentioned about spirituality and being a spiritual being. That's a certain level of vibration, right? But the lower that vibration gets, the more physical the form of energy that you're experiencing. So you have to become bound by the laws that's associated with each of those vibrational tones. Your mind is based on different laws of existence. Your physicalness is based off of different laws. And your physicalness takes you into the source of existence, the source of experience, and the source of endurance. Those are the three main elements in everything that you're going to go through, right? But there's laws for each of those. And there's a stance that has to be taken inside of yourself, right? And so all of that, from the sound, how you're linked into your consciousness, how you use your mind, is going to take you from your potential, which is access to the source of the boundless universes. But learning how to navigate and how to tune in to those signals that constantly come into us. So when you mentioned the brain is like a radio. It allows those waves that are constantly moving to come into you. That's what links you with everything else into your physical being. So that's when you tune into a radio to a certain wavelength, you pick up certain channels, right? And so as you start to raise your awareness, you start to raise your consciousness, you start to change the way that you use yourself. You also are able to start accessing different tones, different vibrations. So as an original people, one of the things we did was chant. But we used to chant in our tone, because that's where you start getting vibrations inside of yourself. People heard of chakras, but in other older languages, they use different terms, different words. But it's all going down to how you activate, utilize, disseminate those vibrations, the way you move, right? So that's going to bring us into what we're going to get into today, right? Being human, being a supreme being existence, one inside of existence, dealing with your functioning, dealing with what you have access to, what you grow into. And at the same time, it's going to be based off of how you engage yourself. So we're going to go through a quick scenario, and don't respond till we get to the end of it, because I actually want you to allow it to sit in your mind, right? So imagine for a moment, right, that you can get whatever you want right now. You can get whatever it is that you want right now. Imagine that. Then imagine that any experience that you want to have, you're able to get it. Any experience that you want to have, you are able to get it. Now, imagine what you have to do in order to make that happen. So now, in your mind's eye, what is it that you want? What do you want?
I want to be the highest, supreme, conscious version of myself.
Okay. And what do you have as a reflection for that?
I have the people that are reflecting back to me. So like even yourself, even the people who are here today, royalty. It's like that saying goes, like iron sharpening iron. So the best aspects of you all I have to contrast towards myself. Okay, I want to be more graceful. I want to be more fortified. I want to be more outspoken. You know, I want to be more conscious or thoughtful. All those shape up and add towards my experience in order to help direct and guide me towards my greatest good.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? What do you want? What do you want? And we're directing down a path. So what do you want?
Can you ask a question?
What do you want?
And what?
See, there you go. We talked about that when we talked about what are you doing, right? If you need me to fill in the blank for a question that's being opened to you, you're looking for direction from someone else. So if that's all you receive, what should you respond from? Right? As a deity of your being, I just asked you, what do you want? Right? So you need me to direct you?
I was just asking what.
I know. No, we do. I know. But remember we talked about this when what are you doing? That it was left that way for that your brain can do what? Your mind can do what?
Oh,
Yes. Right? So what do you want?
Peace of myself.
Peace in yourself. Okay.
Fireball.
Okay. How about you? What do you want?
So, what I want is to learn how to get everything that I want
Okay.
and keep it.
For sure. Okay. Goddess. What you want?
I want to be able to be impactful to the people that I come in contact with positively.
Okay.
Can I add to?
With all all day.
You want to finish yours though?
That's it.
Okay. But like what I want to like learn how to have my own business and attract enough money, whether it's my own business or if I'm working for someone else or both. I want to learn how to have enough money and keep it and make it grow and just have stability for myself and everything like that.
Okay. So with that being said, now what's at the root? What's at the essence of wanting? What's at the root of wanting? Say that again.
Oh, I said growth.
Growth?
You said the root. That's
Yeah, what's at the root of want? To want.
Having a desire
Having a desire.
that needs to be fulfilled.
Okay.
Declare.
What you declare, okay.
It's just something you want. The root of what you want.
Yeah, what is that? What is at the root of that? For me to answer the question, what do I want? What is that word want? What is at that root of that want?
Self-understanding of what you want.
Okay. Some understanding of what you want. Okay. Some understanding of what's going on inside of you. Okay.
It just depends on what you want. Cause you could want like something you shouldn't have, like hot Cheetos or something. And it's like, oh, I really want this. And it's like, you shouldn't be eating that. But you want it. So what's at the root of that? Something that you need to hopefully try to let go of. But then you could also want, like I said, stability and whatever.
Okay.
And then something else is at the root of that. So I don't think
Okay. We're gonna get
they
there.
could.
Anything anybody want to add to?
I don't know. I think want word really wouldn't be my biggest actually.
No. Let's remember we talked about context and condition.
Yeah.
Stay on context
Yeah.
and rule your condition. Right? You started to leave the context. That's usually when we start to avoid.
Yeah.
Right? Because something else is better over here. That's something over there that I can deal with. Right? But we got to rule where we are. We got to handle what's in front of us. That becomes part of our issues. Right? Getting through it. And we're going to get to how that comes into play right now. Right?
I'd say that worthiness would be at the root of wanting.
Okay.
So dependent on what I want is going to be in contrast with what I feel worthy of. So say if if I've been working out, right, I've been doing my due diligence and I've done everything that I've needed to and I really care about my health, but for some reason I have this high craving for I really want these hot Cheetos.
Right.
I really want these hot Cheetos. And I've been doing everything right and it's not gonna hurt me. And if I do that for myself, I'm gonna do even better. So I have the hot Cheetos. Now, as long as that doesn't make me feel worth less, then I'll be okay. And then that's in my right and in my value to do more. But say if I'm obese and I don't work out and I've been trying to work out and I've been trying to get to the gym and I won't go and I keep saying I'm gonna go next week, and then I skip the day where I was supposed to go and I look at that bag of hot Cheetos. If I eat them hot Cheetos, I'm gonna feel worthless and this may not be in my space of worthiness in order to even have those Cheetos.
Okay.
But then when the discipline comes in there, though, right?
Yeah, that's all
Right.
right.
But we're going to get to how all of these come into play. Because right now, we're talking around want. Remember, we also talked about well. At the root,
Wish.
the etymology of well is what?
Wish.
A wish. At the root of want is a lack. It's something that you don't have. You understand? So if I want peace, I'm probably experiencing quite a bit of something in opposition to it. If I want to get to a business, I might not be necessarily where I want to be in terms of this job thing. Understand? And so as we start to really get into what it is that's necessary, now it goes right back. As you know, I'm going to bring it right back. What do you want? And in order for me to be well, I have to think about what my wishes are. That's tying into what I lack. That's tying into now I start to think about discipline, but what I'm going to be disciplined to. What am I being disciplined for? And then the brother Sovereign, in that scenario you mentioned about worthiness, right? You also took for granted that person that's obese cared about what was going to happen with eating those hot Cheetos.
That's true.
So worthiness never would have even come into play. He might have saw his worthiness is by being able to get what he wants.
The wish.
When he wants.
I want those Cheetos.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have them.
And being in a state of well functioning might not be his want. You see, his lack might be he needs more money to get more stuff, or he wants to be able to, you understand?
Yeah.
So you have to get back at, inside of your personal journey, you have to understand what it is you're going after, or how is it that you're going to be able to actually make it happen. How are you going to go from the potential of having thought, the potential to create, the potential to author what it is that you want? How do you go from that potential to authored, created, advocated for your well-being, your spiritual daily success, for whatever that may be for you? So it goes right back to start. When I'm asking, what do you want? You got to realize, like, what is it that I'm in lack of? And then you have to think about, what is it that you mentioned, declare. What am I declaring about my life? What is it that I want to make known based off of the way I use myself, the way that I engage people, the way that I interact with others, the way that I direct myself? What is it that I'm attempting to make known? When I wake up, when you're cooking and things of that nature, from interacting with you, that taps into that nurturer part of you. You're sitting there making full-on meals that you're going to be the last one to eat. You understand? But you're making sure with your sister and everything else. So you start to, we talked about this before, even if people have abused you, people didn't give you what you needed, that shouldn't change how you engage that deity within, that divinity. As we talk about that divinity, how you're defining yourself and that natural inclination, you have to nurture it. But those boundaries become who I allow to touch that divine inside of me. So when we start to look at, what do you want? You got to think about, what is it that you're attempting to perform for your well-being, for your purpose, right? You got to think about that. You got to think about, what is it that I'm executing each day toward my purpose, toward what I want my life to look like. And I got to look at where the lack is in that. What is it that I want to accomplish? What is it that I want to fulfill? And then I got to look at where my lack is to getting to that point, living inside of purpose fulfillment. Then we got to look at, what is it that I'm putting forth? What am I allowing to radiate from my being that's going to be in support of the person that I want to be, purpose fulfillment? And where's the lack in that? So that question, what do you want, is very profound when it's about raising your functioning, right? Wanting to get into that entrepreneurship, these are the tools that lack into getting it. And the key part in that is maintaining momentum, right? Being able to keep it, making it a part of your daily living. So once it becomes a part of you, once it becomes the way that you express, once it becomes the way that you radiate, once it becomes the way that you perform, once it becomes the way that you execute your daily living, then you're able to make it happen. But then that just brings us right back into the next question. What determines what you need? Start talking about lack, it's going to bring us right into need. What determines what you need?
Yourself.
How so?
I mean, you know your body. I mean,
Okay.
you know what you need. I mean, how sometimes you do what you, get what you don't need, but it's yourself.
Right?
Because it can't be nobody else. Ain't nobody gonna come get what I need.
Okay. That was a good throw of your ego out there. Because I'm sure people can tell you what you need. Like if I was to ask you at the very root level, what nutrition does your heart need? What nutrition does your liver need? What nutrition does your lungs need? Can you answer any of? Yeah, you understand?
Yeah, I get your point.
So somebody can tell you.
Well, yeah, but shit, it's still.
Right.
We're not talking about, the functions of my body right now.
Why not?
We're talking about mentally.
Can you do what you do without it?
Heck no.
Right. So now this was a perfect example of how our ego, when we feel a threat.
I hate being a joke.
I know, right? It's not a joke. It's learning. It's growth. But what happens is all of us are there. When each person has their own threat. So once you identify a threat, you respond to the threat. You don't respond to the context. And then you don't rule your condition based upon what's going to maintain that momentum and fulfillment of my purpose. I no longer worry about my purpose. I worry about answering that threat through my ego and how I've learned to address it. Right? So I might ignite anger. I might ignite a bullying method. I might ignite a way to keep you from pursuing whatever it is that we're discussing. And sometimes it might just be a blow up with anger so you can storm out of the room so that you don't have to deal with it. You understand? But in order to get what we want, see, that's part of that lack. I lack the ability to address those threats. Right? And so we have to look at what determines my needs. And it's going to fall in line with this as well. What determines my needs?
The state of being.
Your state of being. How so?
Depending on where you are would determine what you need to get where you want to be.
Exactly. Exactly. Right? So if I'm in the beginning stages, what's going to determine your need has to go back to we talk about declaring, right? It's going to be your destination. Remember we went through examples of that. You have to set your destination. Then you have to have fulfillment. Fulfillment, what's at the root of fulfillment? What is fulfillment even about? People are always talking about fulfilling stuff, but what is fulfillment actually about? Shouldn't hear silence. Everybody want to fulfill something, and then, right?
I'm trying to get my words together.
Fulfilling that lack, that desire. So you feel the desire. The desire is based on a lack. So when you fulfill whatever lack that is, that becomes fulfillment.
Okay. So what is fulfillment about then?
I wish.
Feeling lack.
No, go ahead. You got it.
Fulfilling a lack, okay. That gets there a little bit.
Fulfillment is about having peace.
Okay, that's talking about what's going to be fulfilled and your experience.
I wish.
I feel like it's
That will start you on the path of trying to fulfill something.
What about levels?
What about levels?
Like to get to the fulfillment part, you have
Like a Tootsie Roll? Remember those commercials? How many licks to get to the
yeah, yeah.
right?
The world may never know.
However, but that's still talking around
Hell yeah.
fulfillment.
Dang, Siri. Where you at?
Right? And it's also where most people have a lack in their
Emotion?
relationships, in
Were you
themselves.
gonna say emotion?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
But it manages your emotions.
Some shit.